FREENBECKY. When mutual respect becomes magnetic, there are many reasons people are drawn to others. Beauty, talent, charisma, mystery. All of these can create attention. But attention is not the same as attachment. Attention flickers. Attachment lingers. What holds people, what keeps them returning long after the noise fades, is something quieter and far more powerful. Respect. This is where the story of Freen and Becky truly lives. Not in spectacle. Not in confirmation. Not in rumor or explanation. But in the steady, unmistakable presence of mutual respect. A force so subtle it often goes unnoticed at first, yet so strong it becomes magnetic over time. The rare kind of magnetism that doesn't perform. Most public duos are built to be seen. They are loud by design. Their closeness is emphasized. Their moments curated. Their interactions heightened for effect. The result is often immediate attention, but rarely endurance. FREENBECKY does not operate that way. Their connection does not feel amplified for an audience. If anything, it feels contained, self-possessed, as though it exists for its own sake first. And public visibility comes second. That restraint is precisely what makes it compelling. People are drawn to what feels self-contained because it suggests integrity. It suggests that what you're witnessing isn't dependent on validation to survive. Respect that precedes affection. In many relationships, affection comes first and respect follows later, if at all. People are drawn together by excitement, only to discover over time whether respect can be built. With Freen and Becky, it feels reversed. Respect is present from the beginning. It shows in the way they listen, fully without waiting to speak. In the way they acknowledge each other's presence without overt display. In the way neither attempts to dominate a moment, a conversation, or a narrative. This kind of respect is not learned quickly. It reflects emotional awareness, maturity, and restraint. And when people sense that foundation, they respond to it instinctively. Why respect feels so rare in public spaces. Online culture thrives on exposure. Oversharing is rewarded. Boundaries are questioned. Privacy is often interpreted as secrecy. In that environment, mutual respect stands out. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is countercultural. Freen and Becky do not treat access as obligation. They do not trade intimacy for relevance. They do not collapse boundaries to satisfy curiosity. Instead, they protect each other, quietly, consistently. That protection communicates care more loudly than any declaration ever could. The balance that creates gravity. One of the most striking aspects of FREENBECKY's dynamic is balance. Neither leads permanently. Neither follows submissively. Neither diminishes themselves to elevate the other. They move fluidly. Sometimes one steps forward, sometimes the other. There is no visible struggle for space, no competition for attention. Balance creates trust. Trust creates safety. Safety creates magnetism. People are drawn to relationships that feel equitable because they reflect emotional health, something many long for but rarely see modeled. Why their silence feels intentional, not avoidant. Silence often invites suspicion. But not all silence is avoidance. Some silence is discernment. Freen and Becky do not rush to clarify everything. They don't correct every assumption. They don't respond defensively to speculation. Instead, they allow silence to exist. That choice suggests confidence, not in public opinion, but in their own understanding of what matters. Silence, when paired with consistency, becomes reassuring rather than unsettling. Boundaries as an act of care. There is a misconception that closeness requires unlimited access. FREENBECKY quietly disproves this. They show that boundaries can actually deepen connection, by removing fear of exposure, misinterpretation, or exploitation. Respecting limits creates safety, and safety allows authenticity. People watching sense this instinctively. Feels healthier, feels grounded, feels sustainable. And sustainability is magnetic. The calm that draws people in. There is a distinct calm when Freen and Becky are together. Not disinterest. Not detachment. calm born of familiarity and trust. They do not rush to fill silence. They do not perform reassurance. They allow moments to breathe. In a world addicted to urgency, this calm feels almost radical, and people lean toward it the way they lean toward quiet after noise. Why respect creates deeper chemistry than spark. Spark excites, respect endures. Chemistry built on intensity often burns out. Chemistry built on respect deepens with time. It becomes layered, nuanced, and resilient. FREENBECKY's chemistry does not spike and disappear. Settles. It matures. It grows more compelling precisely because it is not rushed. People don't just notice it. They trust it. Growth without fear of replacement. One of the most revealing signs of mutual respect is how people respond to growth. Growth often introduces fear. What if one outpaces the other? What if success creates distance? What if change breaks what existed? Freen and Becky do not appear governed by that fear. They allow each other to expand without insecurity. Success does not feel like competition. Change does not feel like threat. That security is rooted in respect, the belief that growth does not diminish connection. Why audiences feel safe investing emotionally? Audiences are cautious now. They've seen too many public bonds collapse. Too many narratives dissolve without warning. Too many connections revealed as performative. FREENBECKY feels different. Not perfect. Not idealized. But steady. That steadiness invites emotional investment without fear of betrayal, because nothing is being promised that cannot be maintained. Respect as quiet defiance. In a culture that demands access, choosing respect is a form of resistance. It says, we don't know everything. We don't need to explain everything. We don't have to expose what matters to make it real. Freen and Becky embody this resistance gently, without confrontation, without statement, without spectacle. And that gentleness makes the message stronger. Why this magnetism doesn't fade. Trends fade because they rely on momentum. Respect doesn't need momentum. It needs consistency. That is why the magnetism around FREENBECKY doesn't disappear when attention shifts. It remains present, quieter, deeper, more enduring. People return not because they are curious, but because the connection feels honest.